Hey everybody, it's Diana again, and welcome back to my channel. Well, today I wanted to introduce something that will not only be a new segment on Salameh TV, but it will be possibly have its own channel. Yeah, I'm working on this with my dear friend Kelly from the UK. So I just want to kind of give a background of all this, of why it came to all this. Neither one of us knew that much about the transgender world and the transgender movement because we had transitioned so many years before, knowing that we were transsexual women. And that's all we knew because we went into the straight world and we had no idea what was going on. That was until the latter part of the 90s, whenever, internet was getting big and websites were being created and chat forums and stuff, that we realized what was going on. And both of us, at first, when we started hearing about the term transgender, we thought, well, this is just a new word for transsexual, a modern word for transsexual. Okay. And then we realized, through reading and paying attention to what was going on, that this was not just a new word for transsexual. This was an umbrella term that covered transvestites, cross-dressers, transsexuals, intersex, and anybody within the gender variance, which meant anybody that did anything that was genderly abnormal was transgender. And the more we paid attention to it, we realized that it was basically being run by cross-dressers who were wanting to legitimize themselves by dragging the transsexual along with them. We were the ones that were doing our thing, living our lives, and were basically accepted by society because we transitioned, we had our surgeries, and we went into the world. And we had a certain amount of respectability. So, they were using us to fuel their own needs. So, all of a sudden, they could throw us under the bus. We were not important anymore because they had this movement. And we never wanted to be a part of that movement. We didn't need to be a part of it. We didn't need a community because we already had ourselves that we could hang out with one another. And we were mainly wanting to live in the real world. The genetic born world, as we called it back then. We did not use a term like cis. I mean, they come up with all these terms that all of a sudden we've got to learn when it makes no sense whatsoever. So, we were talking that, hey, we feel like we are the scapegoats here. In our day, you could not get your gender markers changed until you had surgery. That was just mandatory. And then we had to go through hoops, honey. We couldn't just use one psychiatric evaluation to have surgery. We had to have two. And then after we had surgery, we had to take everything to court. Nowadays, somebody can not even have to go to a counselor. They can just say, I'm self-diagnosing myself. I am transgender. So therefore, I'm legally a woman. What? What is this? Somebody needs to back up a little bit. This self-diagnosis don't get it. Because these are the people that later on detransition and say, oh, I made a mistake. Well, you wanted to take your male ideas and your bulliness as being a male and think, oh, all of a sudden I'm a woman. No, you weren't. You never were. It was a fetish you had. And don't think that we, transsexual women, feel like we have to call you that. Don't need to say that you're the same as us. No, you're not. You may not be sexually the same, but you're not mentally the same. Because had you been all those years that you were living with your wives and having sex with her using your penis, and you were working all these big male jobs and successful at it, and you had all these children, you are a man. Those of us who could not do that, we were what the transition and the surgery was for. Those of us who could not fit in any other way, that's what the surgery and the transition was for. So that we could fit into society, so we could be a part of society. We didn't need all this. We didn't need all these transgender rights so you can go out and scare the hell out of folks and say, oh, I'm a woman, you have to call me she or her. No. I don't feel that way, and I know I am transphobic. That's just the way it is, because I've lived all my life as a woman in the women's world. So if I have to take a side, I have to take a side of the genetic-born females. Because I feel like I'm as close as you can get to one of those. So that's what we're going to be talking about on our channel. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. The transsexual world and the things we've had to deal with in our lives. That's important to us. And that's important to a lot of folks, even the genetic-born or cis, if you may call it cis. They have more respect for that than they do you husbands and fathers that decided you're going to put on a dress and go out and you've got to she and her you. I'm sorry. Whether or not you hate me or not, that don't matter. Because even though I think you should have the rights to have a happy life, you shouldn't be in female spaces. You shouldn't be going out and everybody have to she and her you until you look like a she and her. And don't ever think that you're the same as us. Don't ever think it, because you're not, and nobody else will see you that way. That's the kind of stuff that Kelly and I are going to be talking about. So, if you're interested in that, then check back. If you're not, have a good life. Sir. Yeah. Thumbs down, thumbs down. I know all the thumbs down are you cross-dressing men. I know exactly what goes on. I know you folks. You're living your little fantasy. You say, I'm delusional. I am delusional. I do believe that I'm a woman. I really believe it. And I believe 90% of the world and 100% of the people that meet me believe I am too. Yeah. So I do what a trans person is supposed to do. I go into the world as it is and fit into it. And so does Miss Kelly. So, all right. Bye-bye. Love y'all. Some of you at least. And you know who you are. But you can't do nothing to me. You can bite me, bitch.